The new Land Cruiser has major clearance issues, but I think I have a fix for it without having to modify the suspension. Let's find out if it worked. Quick recap before we get into the off-roading. This is the new 250 Land Cruiser. Now the stock tires are a little bit under 33 inches. I've swapped it out for these tires that are almost 34 inches. And other than the tires, everything's stock, including the suspension. So let's see how this performs. We're just gonna go through my course now with 34s. I've done this course with the stock tires. I've done this with 33s, and now we're doing it with 34s. I still hate how Toyota's camera comes off as soon as you go more than like 5 miles an hour. Now the 33s I had were pretty aggressive. I'm noticing a little bit of traction intervention, but it seems like these BFG KO3s are actually performing a little bit better than those Nittos that I had on it before. Speed off-roading. I think I'm gonna leave that in the video. I left it in 4-wheel drive high, or 4-wheel drive low. Oh man, I'm an idiot. Okay, middle speed off-roading. I was like, middle speed off-roading in 4-wheel drive low. With the Land Cruiser, it's locked out to only 4th gear in 4-wheel drive low. So if you're gonna do anything more than crawling, then you're going to be in 4-wheel drive high, which I am. Man, I do like these BFG KO3s so far. Again, I bought these tires to do kind of like a double test, right? To see the bigger tire size, and then also to test out the new KO3s. Man, this is doing really well. Yeah, the clearance seems to be much better. Now here is one downside about this. Let's see if I rub actually. Oh no. So in reverse, full crank, let's see if it'll... That is so what? Okay, let me explain this to you guys quickly. So on road, in reverse, full crank, it rubs. But it flexed out off-road, in reverse, full crank, it does not rub. Explain that one to me. That is strange. My 200 series did the same thing though. So that is just strange. Oh man. This is wonderful. And you know, this engine has enough power to move these tires. It's not that bad. I do got to get in the throttle a little bit, but it is not bad at all. Yeah, the clearance is so much better. Wow, this thing is rocking it. Now we're just going to do another steep climb before we get into the rock crawling. And this time I just have MTS in auto. And I haven't done any stabilizer bar disconnect. Don't need to on this flat stuff. This is more about the traction control system. Oh, I'm getting hung up. It's getting me through. I think the Nittos did a little bit better on that, but BFGs are still doing really good. This is the run up to the rock crawling area, and I figured it'd be fun to kind of show you guys a little bit of a more, not super difficult, more challenging trail because it gets slightly articulated. The thing that makes this terrain the most difficult on the tires and on the vehicle's traction control system is all the gravel, because you kind of dig in a little bit. It's not that bad though when it's dry like right now. Wet, it's a little bit of a different story. See, this section usually picks up something a little bit, but the traction control system, I'm just in auto by the way, works right through it. This MTS is a really good system. It's not quite as good as I would say, well, so Jeep's system I think is not as good, but the articulation on the Wrangler is so much better than the articulation on this Land Cruiser that it makes their traction system look better. Yeah, so you can see this whole thing leading up to the, I mean, some of you might call this is kind of like things people call them like rock gardens. This leads up to the, what I consider the rock crawling, where we get really articulated. I'm just taking it extra slow through that first section. I do have all the underbody protection with this. But the whole reason why I went to bigger tires was so I wouldn't have to use it as much. I checked underneath the car when we put it on the lift for the tires, and let's just say that I have thoroughly used every single skid plate. And that was one of my big complaints with this, is like, yeah, I appreciate that Toyota put it on this car, but I also, let's actually lock the rear. I've never tried this before. Oh, I've got to lock the center first. There we go. And then we'll lock the rear. Anyways, I'm like, I appreciate you putting it on, but also, like, I kind of like that as like a last measure. Like, I try to take lines and everything so that I'm not gonna destroy my vehicle. That rear locker's taking forever to turn on. Now, obviously, I'm gonna give you guys an exterior shot in just a moment, but I do want to get balanced on this so I can show you guys the articulation with this thing. Man, sometimes it's a little bit hard to be smooth with this powertrain, just because you've got to kind of dig into it a little bit. I should start climbing soon. There we go. Okay, so this should be relatively, I'll probably get a little bit higher, but this should be relatively flexed out so I can give you guys an exterior kind of look. Now I'm touching the little air dam just a bit, but I can now actually clear this rock, whereas before I was completely beached on the front recovery point. I'm going to take a slightly different line when we actually go through this, but this does show that the larger tires do in fact improve the clearance by a pretty large margin compared to even the 33s. And for an independent front suspension car, it actually articulates decently well on the front end with the stabilizer bar disconnected. The rear end, of course, having a solid axle has no problem. I mean, here's the driver's side, and then here's the passenger side. You can see it's completely tucked in there. Now with this setup here, basically just going to take it straight, or attempt to. Okay. Oh man. Still is a pretty heavy vehicle at 5,700 pounds, so it does come down not incredibly hard, but a little bit harder. Come on. Oh my gosh. It's just like nothing and then too much power. And I am 2-footing it now, but I might have to be a little bit. Let's try this. There we go. There we go. Before we conclude, I will say I love the views from up here. And sadly, not sure how much longer these views will last for, because Utah, just like a lot of other states, wants to put high-density housing literally everywhere. I guess it's just how things are going to go. In conclusion, with 34-inch tall tires, this feels as capable when it comes to clearance as the Ineos Grenadier that I'm also long-term testing, which is impressive because the Grenadier was sculpted underneath for approach, departure, and breakover angle, and has over 10 inches of ground clearance stock. I've got 33s on that. Well, they're a little bit under 33s, but basically 33s. So mine's closer to 11 inches of ground clearance. Now, I don't think this has that much ground clearance, so it's a little bit less, but in terms of what you perceive in the real world, it feels pretty similar to the Grenadier now. And so that is the solution for the new Land Cruiser, is you've got to go 34-inch tall tires if you're going to be taking this off-road on a regular basis. If you're going to be daily driving it, I wouldn't worry about it. I would stick with 33s because that'll get you the best fuel economy, fuel range, all of that. But yeah, if you're going to be into off-roading, the 34s are the way to go.